Hey, warriors. You ever wonder why the loudest, most clueless people somehow end up on top? In politics, in companies, even inside families, there's always that one person who shouldn't have power, yet somehow everyone bends around them. And here's the unsettling truth. Society doesn't give power to the smartest person. It gives power to the person who acts like they deserve it. Confidence beats competence. Noise beats logic. Illusion beats intelligence. And most people don't realize that until they're already serving someone beneath them. When Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand," he wasn't describing kings, he was describing human psychology. The world isn't ruled by leaders, it's ruled by performers, actors, pretenders, people who discovered one terrifying fact early in life. Perception is power. And whoever controls perception controls reality. Look closely at the people you call leaders. Politicians with no wisdom, managers with no substance, influencers with no experience. Why do they rise? Because they understood something your teachers, your parents, your society never taught you. Most humans are terrified of responsibility. They don't want to think. They don't want to decide. They want someone, anyone, to point them in a direction so they don't have to face their own uncertainty. And the person who raises their hand first becomes the authority. This is why idiots rise, not because they're talented, because they're willing, while smarter men hesitate, overthink, doubt themselves. You've been trained to wait until you feel ready. They take action while still ignorant. And guess who gets rewarded? But here's the darker psychological layer. Humans subconsciously fear intelligence. The smarter you are, the more threatening you appear to people who refuse to evolve. That's why quiet, observant men get ignored. You think, you analyze, you wait for the right moment. Meanwhile, some loud fool storms the room, claims the position, and suddenly everyone assumes he must know what he's doing because he said so confidently. Your first step is recognizing this. Intelligence alone will never be enough. Skill alone will never be enough. Understanding alone will never be enough. The world only rewards intelligence when it comes packaged inside dominance, presence, strategy, silence that intimidates, action that doesn't wait for permission. If you're ready to stop watching idiots rise above you, hit subscribe now, because this is where dominance begins. But the story gets darker. Human beings don't follow competence, they follow certainty. Even if that certainty is completely fabricated, the world is built on perception, not truth. I've watched top executives panic when a confident intern walked into a meeting and spoke like he already owned the building. Not because he was right, but because confidence signals dominance, and dominance triggers obedience. People bow to certainty because uncertainty terrifies them. That's the first law you were never taught. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not necessary to be truly virtuous, only to appear so." He wasn't encouraging deception for the sake of cruelty, he was revealing human blindness. People obey appearances more than substance, nerves more than knowledge, loudness more than accuracy. And if you refuse to play this game, you'll lose to people far beneath your potential. Consider your workplace. The mediocre employee somehow gets promoted. The inexperienced manager somehow gets authority. Why? Because they moved without waiting for approval. They volunteered first. They asked boldly. They positioned themselves strategically. They projected importance. Meanwhile, you held back because you assumed merit would be recognized. But society doesn't reward merit. Society rewards those who make themselves unavoidable. This is why you feel invisible. You've been trained to be correct instead of compelling. You've been taught to be good instead of strategic. You were raised to believe fairness exists, yet every powerful person understands that fairness is a fantasy used to keep intelligent men obedient. And until you reject that fantasy, you will keep watching lesser men take what should have been yours. But let's dig deeper. There is something even darker happening. Society favors manipulators because manipulators understand desire. They don't lead with intelligence, they lead with promise. They give people emotional stories, not logical analysis. They know humans don't think they feel, and feelings decide everything. And that brings us to your greatest mistake: trusting rationality in a world driven by emotion. You think people respect skill. They don't. They respect whoever makes them feel secure. And idiots are fearless enough to promise what they can't deliver. Let that sink in. Before we continue, like this video, because what I'm about to reveal next will dismantle every belief you were raised with. Because now we enter Rule 2, and it will disturb you. Rule 2. People don't reward the best choice. They reward the safest narrative. And this is where society becomes dangerous. The man who speaks softly but confidently is trusted more than the man who actually understands what is happening. The charismatic fool wins votes. The disciplined expert gets ignored. The world prefers noise over substance because noise feels protective. It feels decisive. People want direction more than truth, and that psychological weakness becomes a staircase for opportunists. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand," meaning they judge based on what they see, not what is real. This is why pretty packaging wins elections, why loud voices dominate meetings, why half-witted influencers become thought leaders. The world is hypnotized by perception, and perception is weaponized by those who understand it. The fool isn't powerful, he's simply unburdened by self-doubt. That alone makes him deadly. You might think intelligence protects you. It doesn't. Intelligence without courage turns into hesitation, overthinking, paralysis. Meanwhile, the incompetent move forward because stupidity erases fear. They say what they want. They ask for what they want. They volunteer before thinking. They take risks without calculating. Confidence without reflection creates boldness, and boldness is mistaken for leadership. Look around your life. Think of that co-worker who somehow keeps getting opportunities. Think of that relative who everyone listens to, even though they shouldn't. Think of those politicians who can barely form coherent sentences, yet run entire nations. These people succeed not because they're smart, but because they're certain, and certainty hypnotizes the masses. Now, here's the part that should terrify you. If you don't learn to project certainty, you will automatically fall under someone else's. Human psychology does not allow neutrality. You either dominate the narrative or you get consumed by it. There is no middle ground. The louder personality always writes reality. But don't misunderstand, this isn't about becoming loud. Loudness is merely one tactic. Presence, silence, eye contact, these hold more power than shouting ever could. The art is projecting controlled certainty, not chaotic noise. Real dominance is quiet, intentional, and precise. We'll go deeper, but first understand this. The world is not run by the wise, it is run by the confident, and confidence is manufactured, not born. Let me show you how the truly strategic do it. Rule 3. Most people don't actually want leaders, they want permission. They don't seek truth, they seek comfort. And anyone who speaks with emotional certainty becomes their refuge, even if that certainty is hollow. This is why manipulators rise effortlessly. They promise simplicity to minds overwhelmed by complexity. Do this, believe that, follow me. And people obey, not because it's correct, but because their minds crave someone to decide for them. Machiavelli warned, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Meaning those in power say what they must, then change without apology. The masses accept it because they're terrified of uncertainty. A strong ruler adapts. A fearful population rationalizes it. That's why society keeps electing the same failures. The population is addicted to direction, even if the direction leads off a cliff. Look at modern culture. Influencers worshipped for idiotic opinions. Public figures elevated simply because they speak confidently. Online gurus crowned as geniuses because they say things strongly. People aren't looking for reality, they're hunting for emotional anchors. The one who provides emotional certainty automatically becomes superior, regardless of truth. And here's the twist. Most intelligent men sabotage themselves by over-explaining, apologizing, softening statements, seeking permission before acting. That hesitation disqualifies them before they've even started. Society never grants power to the man who seems unsure, even if he's the only one who actually knows what he's talking about. So, what's the Machiavellian adjustment? You stop asking. You stop convincing. You stop explaining your motives like a child needing approval. You present decisions as conclusions, not proposals. You speak with minimal words and maximum weight. The less you seek agreement, the more others assume you already have it. Confidence is not a feeling, it's a behavior. You perform it until others believe it. Now listen closely. There's a deeper layer. The incompetent win because they remove hesitation. The competent lose because they drown inside it. The only difference is emotional self-command. If you stop trusting your doubt and start trusting your direction, everything changes. The world will not respect what you know. It only respects what you declare. Watch closely because the next rule will make you understand why the silent man always ends up holding the real power. Rule 4. The man who controls attention controls reality. Power today isn't built by intelligence. It's built by visibility, but not constant visibility. Selective visibility. The greatest mistake smart men make is trying to prove themselves all the time. They enter every debate. They correct every error. They argue with idiots. They drain themselves, proving what fools never cared to learn. Meanwhile, the strategically foolish appear occasionally loud, confident, unapologetic, and society worships their appearances like events. The less you show up, the more your presence expands. The less you speak, the more your words intensify. Scarcity forces value. The king is not powerful because he speaks constantly. He is powerful because he doesn't need to. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved." Today, that means it is better to be noticed than understood. Understanding requires effort. Noticing requires nothing. Human psychology always chooses the easier path. Think of your own life. The person who constantly seeks validation becomes invisible. The one who withdraws becomes a question mark. And human beings fear question marks. They fear what they can't define. They fear what they can't predict. They fear what they don't fully know. The unknown becomes mythical, and mythical becomes powerful. When you disappear strategically, people fill the silence with imagination, speculation, insecurity. They wonder what you're planning, why you're quiet, what you're working on. Their minds create legends in the absence of facts. That is power. The fool is present. The cunning man is rumored. So, you must master selective disappearance. Pull away from pointless conversations. Withdraw from desperate social approval. Speak rarely, but decisively. Show up unpredictably, but meaningfully. The moment you stop being accessible, you become valuable. Remember this: access to you should feel earned, not assumed. Here is a quiet truth. You don't need people talking about you positively. You just need them talking. Positive or negative doesn't matter. Attention is currency. The more unpredictable you become, the more they obsess. The more silent you become, the louder their curiosity grows. Power begins when others start reacting to your absence instead of your presence. Now we move to the darkest rule of all, the rule society hopes you never discover. Rule 5. Incompetence spreads because competent people stay silent. This is the darkest pattern of society. Intelligent men hesitate. They wait for the right moment, the right evidence, the right approval. Meanwhile, the incompetent act immediately. They make decisions without understanding consequences. And somehow those decisions shape reality simply because nobody challenged them fast enough. The world is not led by the ready, it is led by the first mover. Machiavelli observed, "The one who acts first is often the victor." Modern translation. People mistake movement for mastery. The one who moves boldly becomes the authority, while the intelligent man quietly calculates and misses his moment. Every delay becomes a surrender. Every hesitation becomes an invitation for fools to take command. Think of the workplace. The lazy co-worker volunteering for leadership roles. The unqualified manager giving direction. The relative everyone listens to just because they speak with arrogance. It's not that society rewards stupidity, it rewards initiative. Most brilliance is buried under fear. Most mediocrity becomes power simply because mediocrity wasn't afraid of embarrassment. But listen carefully, there's a deeper structure here. Incompetent people unite naturally. They support each other, validate each other, promote each other, because they share the same weakness. Smart people isolate themselves because intelligence feels like separation. Foolish people build alliances instantly because stupidity feels universal. Their network multiplies their reach multiplies their influence. So while the competent man stands alone thinking, the incompetent build armies without knowing it. This is why foolish leaders thrive. They ride the wave of collective insecurity. They promise simplicity, they promise certainty, they promise belonging. And humans surrender intelligence in exchange for psychological relief. The solution? You stop waiting until you're perfect. You take the action now. You step into roles before you feel ready. You initiate even when you're unsure. You speak with direction instead of asking for permission. The moment you behave decisively, the world assumes competence. And once people assume competence, their trust follows no matter your starting point. Understand this. Hesitation is the graveyard of intelligent men. Confidence is the throne of ordinary ones. So if you want to rise in a world ruled by fools, you must do the one thing the competent fear most: step forward before certainty arrives. But there is another layer, and it's darker. Society does not accidentally reward idiots. It needs them, because incompetence is predictable, and predictable people are easy to control. A competent mind questions everything, challenges systems, exposes hypocrisy, threatens structure. A foolish mind accepts the narrative and protects the system that controls it. So society elevates the minds that maintain order, not the minds that threaten it. Machiavelli warned, "The people desire change, but fear it at the same time." This fear becomes the foundation of obedience. The average citizen does not want improvement. They want stability. They want the illusion of progress, while everything stays comfortably familiar. So, power goes to those who reassure the masses, even if they lead them in circles. Watch politics closely. The most dangerous leaders are rarely intelligent, they are comforting. They speak to emotions, not logic. They promise protection from imaginary threats. They manufacture fear, then sell reassurance. The population never realizes they were played because their brains are addicted to emotional closure. Now apply this to your personal life. The friends who discourage your ambitions. The co-workers who tell you not to overthink things. The relatives who say, "Don't make things complicated." They are not trying to elevate you, they're trying to preserve the world that feels safe to them. Your growth threatens their identity, so they undermine your intelligence with phrases that reward simplicity. And here's the most Machiavellian truth. Most idiots are not actually stupid. They are lazy thinkers. They choose emotional comfort instead of cognitive responsibility. They avoid thought the way addicts avoid withdrawal. True thinking hurts. Real awareness destabilizes identity. That pain terrifies the average mind, so they cling to convenient stupidity. To rise above the system, you must accept that clear thinking isolates you. Better to walk alone with truth than follow the crowd into foolishness. The world doesn't punish stupidity, it punishes awareness. So you must learn to hide your intelligence strategically. Show just enough to maintain leverage, never enough to trigger resistance. Be smart quietly, move intelligently, observe without revealing, because the world fears the mind it cannot control. And fear always turns into suppression. Here's the shift most men never make. Stop trying